This is WBAI 99.5 FM. High Praise with Daulton Anderson. WBAI family. A new segment to High Praise. It's called a Pastor's Corner, and today we'll be interviewing Pastor Reginald Bachus, who is a native of Kansas City, Kansas, a third-generation Baptist pastor, preaching now for more than 11 years. He has a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from the Prairie View A&M University. Also, he's pledged Kappa Alpha Psi Zeta Beta chapter at the Prairie View. He was the Pole March president for 2 years. He graduated with a Master's of Divinity from Yale Divinity School out of New Haven, Connecticut, and was at the top of his class. He then moved out to Chicago to work with his father, Pastor Reginald E. Bachus Sr. at the Friendship Baptist Church in Chicago, where he was a community organizer as well as worked with the 15th Precinct in Chicago. He was called to pastor the Mount Olive Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York in April of 2011, and has been recognized by the community for his work with the community on this very special project called Community Corners, pretty much targeting some of the worst corners in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn. Also, he is the vice president for the 73rd Precinct Clergy Council. He is part of the Clergy Task Force. I would like to welcome for the first time in inaugurating a brand new segment, the Pastor's Corner. Welcome to High Praise, Pastor Reginald L. Bachus. How are you doing, sir?
But I am absolutely wonderful, excited, and honored to be here on this inaugural segment of this High Praise in the Pastor's Corner. And much congratulations to you for your hard work and diligence through the years and representing us on the airways in New York City and abroad.
I want to thank you so much for that, Pastor. This particular idea really came from our general manager, Mr. Berto Ramirez. Felt that he wanted to have BI have more of a community presence, and he felt that having pastors who were in their community that were doing positive things in their community, he felt that the BAI listeners, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, as well as those streaming here across the country and the world, to hear about some of the great things that are happening in New York, because sometimes we're hearing a lot of negative things. Pastor Bachus, there are some things I'd like to ask, but are there anything you like to start out with, any word or any praise out that you'd like to make before actually going to one of our topics we're going to talk about is really the current environment with police and community relations? Is there anything you'd like to start out with before we go into our topic?
First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the Mount Olive Baptist Church of Brownsville, Brooklyn, and to all of our members and our community members and supporters for the work and the ministry we do in our corner of Brooklyn.
And Pastor, I'd like you to give out the address of the Mount Olive Baptist Church in Brooklyn.
Mount Olive Baptist Church is located at 1698 St. Mark's Avenue, right off of the three-way intersection of Eastern Parkway, Rockaway Avenue, and St. Mark's, located in the middle of the block, 1698 St. Mark's Avenue. You can look us up online as well, Mount Olive Baptist Church.
Pastor Bachus, if you can just give us one subject matter concerning your involvement in the community, and from this particular subject matter, how it has benefited the community with your outreach program.
Okay, well, two things that we're really excited about right now. Number one is Community Corners. Now, Community Corners is an initiative that was birthed out of 73rd Police Precinct Clergy Council. What we've done is look at some issues in the community. How do we begin to target those who you don't necessarily catch? In many community meetings, what you're doing in church expression, we say, is preaching to the choir. Those who are already informed and concerned are going to show up in meetings. And we had a issue with violence on some of our corners in Brownsville. What we said is we're going to take over the corner, not just to occupy corner, but to provide resources. So what we began is organizing different churches and organizations within the Brownsville, Brooklyn community to come to the worst corners in Brownsville, Brooklyn, where we stand out there. We give out housing information. We give out educational information. We give out resources. We're giving out food. We're giving out clothing. We're giving out toys at Christmas time. We try to do things that are in line with season. And it's a great opportunity. We operate by the motto that the right bait on the right hook will catch any fish. So that is our bait, catch people as they're walking by us. And we have housing information, job information, different resources, free toys for the children. Once we get them there, we engage them in conversation. It's about creating community one corner at a time. Once we engage them in conversation, then we also allow our spiritual component to step up to the plate, and we ask and offer prayer and some minor consultation or counseling on the corner. Now, I believe up to the date, we've probably touched over 10,000 people. We've been doing it for over a year and a half, almost 2 years now, every Wednesday from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Now, in the wintertime, we only do maybe once or twice a month, just based on the climate conditions.
Yes.
But that's one thing that we've been doing, really excited about, Community Corners. Our second initiative is community pledges, and I'll talk more about that if you like. But the community pledge, we're trying to get the community and the police to kind of come together.
Before we go to the community pledges, how effective has the community corners been in the sense of ministering with information that you're giving out? And you're saying these are the worst corners in Brownsville. For those who may be passing by and think maybe I could help Pastor Bachus, where are these corners? Where are you ministering from, and where are you giving assistance from? Are there various corners, or do you have a specific one that you target?
We go to various corners, and various corners have different needs. One example, our kind of base location is Rockaway and Livonia.
Rockaway and Livonia.
Familiar with Brownsville. I mean, we've had some moving stories. Our first couple weeks out there, a man met us out in the streets, and then just almost to the point of tears, and he's been on this corner for over 40 years, and this is the first time churches and organizations have come out into the community to actually do something and give back. Now, I don't believe that we are the only ones who have done something, but it does speak volumes that not enough churches and not enough people are doing it to where it's not the precedent or the standard, but it's viewed as unique. We've also been on corners like Herkimer and Rockaway. We've been at Christopher and Pickett Avenue, which is a high drug area. On Herkimer and Rockaway, we receive different Praize reports. We give out job information. A young man came back and said he got an interview. We prayed for people who have come back and said cancer has gone and went away. We've seen miracles happen on the corner, and just a tremendous amount of praise reports that have happened. That has been the greatest impact. People finding housing. And we try to do the same corner 2 or 3 times so people can actually come back and share their stories and actually join in.
Pastor Bachus, from what you're saying, come from behind the 4 walls of the church, taking the ministry to the street, not to preach a word, but you've actually gone out there, given information, job information, housing information, help information, drug information to help those in the communities. Is this what your action plan has been?
Absolutely. It's our goal to make an impact community. It's very difficult to do it behind the walls of church. So you have to be present in the community. Jesus was always present in the world. He received a lot of criticism for it if you look at the charges that were railed against him. So we want to walk in the footsteps of Jesus, who did just remain in the temple or the synagogue, but he actually was in the streets and touching the people.
Pastor Bachus, can you talk about a second subject called, is that pledges for the community?
Yeah, our community pledges, and just kind of to give the context for it. I mean, we know that we are in a difficult climate right now between our police and our community and our mayoral relations. So what we've tried to do is kind of look at what's going on. Right now, we know that there has been kind of, the subject has been polarized to where we have made an issue. We've called it racial, that really, if you get to the heart core of it, it's just an issue of a broken policy. It's just an issue of police brutality. And the challenge is you can't label 100% of the police department and those who work under those same guise of being racist. We know that's not the case. Every year, for example, teachers get caught in sexual misconduct or distribution of narcotics on high school or middle school campuses. We don't say that every teacher needs to be retrained or every teacher is wrong. We don't paint with a broad brush, but we do deal individually with those issues. So what the goal of the pledges is to kind of target, if we can, those who are the isolated, the lone wolves, or the cowboys, as they're called on the police, who kind of act out of line. We want to begin to rein them in by saying we want a community pledge with police officers as well as the community, saying that we're going to operate on a level of respect.
All right.
You know, the motto for the police is courtesy, professionalism, and respect. We want to hold them accountable to that, and we also want to hold ourselves accountable as a community as well. So we want to find some middle ground where we can come together, because the issue has been grossly damaged. Former Mayor Giuliani's, trying to add racial rhetoric, saying 92% of black men are killed by black men, but FBI statistics suggest that 83% of white murders are done by white people. Even of those, 37% are white women that are killed by white men. We don't say that every white man is a killer of white women, so we want to, again, to focus the issue on what's really the core. And I think if we get to the root of it, it's the broken policy that are a part of the broken window system. We want to get to the core of it. How do we begin to address those individual and isolated incidents without having the conflict that we have? And I think that's really the challenge the mayor is dealing with right now. He's got that he's a CEO of the city. He represents the entire city. And even though, as a leader with a heart issue, you got to rule from the head. And what we're calling for and looking at and asking for Governor Cuomo to really develop an outside body. It's very difficult for prosecutors who have to work with the officers and get convictions, and they know each other, which is why we ask judges to recuse themselves if they know the defendant or the victim. It's just some system issues, but we want to start making sure, again, from the community perspective, we do our part, pledges, but then also giving the officers the opportunity to say that they're in this to help the community. They're civil servants. They're there to serve, not just to police the community.
Right. Pastor Bachus, I've worked with the 67th precinct here in Brooklyn, and I used to pretty much know all the officers. I used to know the officers in the neighborhood. They would know me. We would, there was a kind of a mutual respect, and somehow in all of this, and I don't know, I'm not sure it's from administration point, but all of a sudden, police went from being police officers in the community to being police officers who are policing the community. And I'm thinking, how did that mindset happen? And was it there all the time to the point now, I almost feel like we're back in the olden days. If you just look like you're going to do something wrong, I'm going to take you down. Can you help me here a little bit, Pastor?
Well, I think that there's a couple underlying issues. Number one, again, I am a strong supporter and advocate of the police. And I would say that not all of them are bad, not all of them are wrong, but there are those individuals. There's bad apples in every bunch. But one of the challenges that we faced in the 73rd Police Precinct, I've only been pastor to be 4 years in April, but we've had 3 different commanding officers in that time.
Yes.
In a lot of the communities where there's high poverty, high crime, high violence, it's known as a transitory place. So when you bring policemen in from outside of the community who have no connection or relationship to the community, their perspective of the community is going to be different.
Yes.
We remember a time when the policemen, they wouldn't take you to jail because they knew your mother and your father.
All right.
They go tell your mother, your father. They take you home. There were different options in order to mediate justice. It was not just putting you in cuffs in the back of a police vehicle and taking you downtown or to the precinct to be locked up. So that's one part of it. The second part, again, is dealing with the policy. What we saw in Staten Island is a procedural issue. It is a broken policy that was a result of broken windows that have not been administered effectively. The chokehold, taking the life of Mr. Garner, it was a wrong move. It did not have to be taken to that level, but if there had been relationship, if there had been a desire to kind of talk and de-escalate the situation.
Yes.
But now the community and I'll say a segment of the police have such a combative relationship. You got to think back to the correlation to rap music, how it has progressed to now where you have second and third generation who grew up listening to NWA and all of this anti-police rhetoric that is in rap music. So now that there's just a high level of mistrust, I think, that has really damaged our community in particular.
This is WBAI 99.5 FM, High Praise with Daulton Anderson, a brand new segment called Pastor's Corner, interviewing Pastor Reginald L. Bachus, Mount Olive Baptist Church, located at 1698 St. Mark's Avenue in Brooklyn, New York, between Eastern Parkway and East New York Avenue. Pastor Bachus, is there a solution where we can kind of get this nervousness? Because now in parts of the country, I've heard snipers taking pot shots at cops, and this is just seems to be reverberating around the country. Is there something we can do that can kind of mediate this? Because even with the PBA president, he's high rhetoric, and this is New York City, and we don't want to be on the map. People coming to New York will not feel safe. How can we get together at the table and kind of understand what we need to do to kind of calm the situation down? Any point of solution that you could give, Pastor Bachus?
Well, I think that the media has a role in this. There are some, again, who benefit from the racial rhetoric and from the polarizing of the issue. So I think we need a more balanced approach to the presentation of what's out there. And the truth is, we live in a country where there are some who are prone to be copycat, to mimic what they see of others. But as you continue to portray these negative images, the violence that's happening, others are naturally going to catch on. So we do want to have a balanced approach to the media, because we do realize that the media does need to tell both sides of the story, but it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. That's the first thing. The second thing I would say, it's about reestablishing relationships. The reason the community and police were so effective in the past because those relationships existed. Yes. The mindset and mentality is that I'm here to serve rather than to police. And I think you need some more vocal representatives. I mean, the truth is, Black America is not monolithic, and there is no one person who speaks for all of Black America.
Yes.
Where are the other voices who are balancing the story?
I'm wondering, where are they? Where are they? Pastor Bachus, again, WBAI family, this is Pastor Reginald L. Bachus from the Mount Olive Baptist Church, located at 1698 St. Mark's Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. Pastor, where are the pastors? Where are they?
I mean, you would, again, it's a media problem. There are plenty of pastors. I've received numerous text messages. I know of several marches that have happened and are continuing to happen. I know on next Sunday, the second Sunday of January, a group of strong clergy pastors, Pastor Daulton Lacey of Bethany Baptist Church, yes. Pastor Clinton Miller of Brown Memorial, Pastor Lawrence Aker of Cornerstone, Pastor Gaddy of Friendship Baptist Church, Stephen Carter of Mount Ararat Baptist Church, and myself, just to name a few. And I hate naming names. I can't remember everybody, obviously. Sean Lee of Mount Lebanon. We're meeting at Restoration Plaza in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn at 2 p.m. on next Sunday. That's just an example of what we're doing.
Yes.
But the problem is we don't have the media or the press or the exposure, so it looks as if there's only one representative or maybe a couple representatives of Black America. But we've always been grassroots organization on the ground,
yes.
mobilizing the people. So we continue to do that, but it's just not the story that's being told. I think it's very unfortunate. So it paints the image that we're not out there, we're not present and actively engaged.
Well, Pastor Bachus, that's why this has been created, the Pastor's Corner here on WBAI, to let people know that the pastors are out there. And I would like the organizer, if yourself or another pastor, to call in next Sunday, 7:20. Let's talk about what's going to be happening on Sunday afternoon in Brooklyn, what is going to be planned. Let us get a kind of a call to action here. Let's get that news out there. Pastor Bachus?
If I may, real quick.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Dr. Calvin Butts of Abyssinian Baptist Church has been at the forefront of this movement for us and pushing, trying to use, he's been a statesman, he's been active and involved, trying to pull clergy and leaders together. So if I'm able to make a suggestion, I would say he would be a great person to start with, as he has been our leader in this time and in this movement.
We'll definitely get in touch. With Dr. Butts, see if we can get him on to speak about this wonderful move. Pastor Bachus, I would like to kind of close in the sense of your community outreach and the effectiveness that you have displayed. If you can end what has been a negative and how did you overcome that negative? If there was a failure, if it was, tell us. And if there was, how did you overcome that? Being a young pastor at the Mount Olive Baptist Church for only 4 years, you're an out-of-towner, but you've come in, you've understood the situation. How did you handle that?
Well, some of it, there's always a level of mistrust on someone who is perceived as an outsider, not from the community or even not from New York City. I mean, but the reality is I love New York City. I'm a stepson of New York City, so I love as only a stepson can. There's a different level of love and approach. Yes. I mean, so just how you overcome that is just by presence, by consistency, and by effectiveness. If you are effective, no one can take that from you. I remember a conversation. There was a guy who was walking by with a young boy who wanted to kind of stop and get some information. And he said, man, there's no point in stopping these churches. They're not doing anything. They're not effective. And at the moment, it was frustrating. But then the Spirit began to reveal to me that the enemy or the spirit within people that is counterproductive will do everything it can to try to nullify the impact and try to change the perspective of what's happening. But it was encouraging at the same time, because I was always taught that people are only talking about people who are doing something worth talking about. So it gave us a new vigor just to keep on pushing, just to keep doing what we were doing, and just to be, again, present, effective, and just to demonstrate results. They say, let your work speak for you louder than your words speak for you. And that's been our goal, and that's been our strategy. And I believe that's how we've been able to overcome. And we will continue to remain present in the community.
This is WBAI 99.5 FM in New York, interviewing Pastor Reginald L. Bachus, pastor of the Mount Olive Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York, 1698 St. Mark's Avenue between Eastern Parkway and East New York. Pastor Bachus, I want to thank you so much for being the first one to inaugurate this wonderful segment in High Praise, Pastor's Corner, and I really thank you for your wonderful insight. Again, it will be rebroadcast. It will be system in our archives at WBAI.org. That's WBAI.org. Pastor Bachus, thank you so much for calling and really sharing your insight, your ministry, your positive involvement in the community of Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York.
It has been my joy and my honor. Much success to you in this new endeavor, and we will do everything we can to support you and spread the word. We know that ratings determine. If you like what you hear, continue to tune in. Hit them up on Facebook, reach out, call, write letters to the station to let them know we want this type of program to continue to go on the airwaves. We need it in a very, very crucial way in this day and time. So thank you, Brother Daulton, as well.
God bless you, Pastor. You have a wonderful morning. And Pastor, very quickly, just before I let you go, please give us times of service at the Mount Olive Baptist Church.
Mount Olive, we have two services. We have a 9 and 11:30 a.m. and also on Tuesday at 12 noon and at 7:30 p.m. is our Bible study or Bible worship time as well. So 4 opportunities throughout the week. We'd love to see you there. We promise it's like Lay's potato chips. One time won't be enough.
We love you, Pastor Bachus. You take care and have a great morning. We'll see you in service later on today.
All right, God bless you.
God bless now. You take care now. Bye-bye.